In 1969, one factory car was so far ahead the NHRA had only two choices: catch it or change the rulebook.
Have you ever wondered which car was so fast that even the National Hot Rod Association could not catch it? In 1964, Ford introduced the Fairlane Thunderbolt, a car designed purely for drag racing. With a 427 cubic inch V8 engine, lightweight aluminum doors, fiberglass hood, and Lexan windows, it was faster than almost anything else on the track. This super stock machine could run the quarter mile in 11.6 seconds at over 124 miles per hour. But here is the shocking part. It was so dominant that the NHRA had to change its rules, effectively blacklisting it. How could a production car reach such speeds? How many were built, and why are so few surviving today? By the end of this video, you will understand why the Thunderbolt became a legend and why it still captures the imagination of classic car enthusiasts around the world. What makes a car so unstoppable that it could dominate every race without breaking a sweat? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was not just another muscle car, it was a revolutionary machine created to redefine drag racing. Ford's engineers took the standard Fairlane and transformed it into a factory-built superstock monster, stripping away anything unnecessary and focusing purely on performance. At its heart was a 427 cubic inch V8 engine, capable of producing immense horsepower, paired with a lightweight body that included aluminum doors, a fiberglass hood, and Lexan windows. These modifications reduced weight dramatically, giving the Thunderbolt a remarkable advantage on the strip. Only a limited number of cars were built to meet NHRA's racing eligibility, making it extremely rare and highly sought after by collectors. But here is the shocking part. How could a car built for production be so dominant that the National Hot Rod Association had to reconsider its rules? What made competitors so intimidated that they could barely keep up? And why are so few Thunderbolts surviving today, despite their legendary status? The design of this car was a perfect blend of factory engineering and racing ingenuity, a car so advanced for its time that it forced the racing world to take notice. Imagine being a racer facing the Thunderbolt for the first time. Would you believe a production car could run the quarter mile in 11.6 seconds at over 124 miles per hour? This was more than a car, it was a statement, a challenge to every competitor, and a symbol of Ford's audacious approach to drag racing. Even today, enthusiasts marvel at how a single model could push an entire governing body to change the rules, earning the ultimate badge, NHRA blacklisted. Thunderbolt's incredible performance. Can you imagine a car so fast that it left almost every competitor in its dust? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was not only revolutionary in design, but also in sheer performance. Equipped with a 427 cubic inch V8 engine, this factory-built superstock car could run the quarter mile in 11.6 seconds at over 124 miles per hour, numbers that were unheard of for production cars at the time. The combination of lightweight components, precise engineering, and the raw power of the V8 made it virtually unstoppable on the drag strip. But how did the Thunderbolt achieve such speed? Could a car that was technically a production model really outperform almost every specially modified race car on the track? And why did this incredible performance make NHRA officials reconsider their rules? Racers quickly realized that facing a Thunderbolt meant going against a machine designed to win, not just compete. Every race revealed the car's dominance, leaving competitors frustrated and spectators amazed. Imagine the tension at the strip as drivers tried to figure out how to beat a car that seemed almost untouchable. This is where the legend of the Thunderbolt truly began. A production car that blurred the lines between factory models and racing monsters. A car so extraordinary that it forced the National Hot Rod Association to adapt its regulations just to keep competition fair. Even today, the Thunderbolt's performance is studied and celebrated as one of the greatest examples of raw engineering brilliance in drag racing history. Can you guess how many drivers managed to beat a Thunderbolt in its prime? What happens when a single car is too powerful for the rulebook itself? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was so dominant that the National Hot Rod Association, which governed drag racing rules, had no choice but to react. The NHRA had strict regulations for the superstock class, including minimum production numbers and safety requirements, but the Thunderbolt's performance exposed a loophole. With only a limited number of these cars built, each one was a masterpiece of factory engineering, but technically eligible to compete. Its 427 cubic inch V8 engine, lightweight aluminum doors, fiberglass hood, and Lexan windows made it almost impossible for competitors to keep pace. How could a car built for production racing outperform nearly every other car on the strip? What changes did the NHRA implement to ensure fairness without punishing innovation? Soon officials began raising minimum production requirements and enforcing stricter eligibility checks. Essentially, the Thunderbolt was blacklisted, not banned for being illegal, but because it was simply too fast for the rules at the time. Racers faced a dilemma: compete against a nearly untouchable car or watch as their chances of victory slipped away. Imagine the tension at every drag strip, with fans on the edge of their seats, wondering if anyone could ever catch the Thunderbolt. This reaction from the NHRA cemented the car's legendary status and proved that true innovation often forces the establishment to change. Can you picture the debates and meetings where officials had to rethink the very rules of drag racing just because of one extraordinary car? Races that made history. Which race changed the perception of what a production car could truly do? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt did not just dominate in practice, it turned heads and made history on the drag strip during actual competitions. Every time it rolled to the starting line, competitors knew they were facing a machine built for one purpose: to win. With its 427 cubic inch V8 engine and lightweight components like aluminum doors and a fiberglass hood, the Thunderbolt could complete the quarter mile in 11.6 seconds at over 124 miles per hour. Spectators watched in awe as drivers struggled to keep up, often scratching their heads, wondering how a production car could outperform custom-modified race machines. But here is the question: which particular races showed just how unstoppable the Thunderbolt truly was? And how did these victories force rival drivers and teams to rethink their strategies? Every successful run by the Thunderbolt not only displayed its raw power, but also showcased Ford's innovative engineering and commitment to creating a car that blurred the line between factory model and racing legend. Imagine standing trackside as this car launches down the strip, tires screeching, leaving everything else in its dust. Its victories were not just about speed. They told a story of dominance, fear, and respect. Can you imagine being a driver in the 60s facing this car for the very first time? Would you even believe that it was possible for a production model to achieve such staggering performance? Engineering genius behind the Thunderbolt. What secret engineering tricks made a production car feel like a purpose-built race machine? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was more than just a fast car. It was a masterpiece of engineering innovation. Every component was carefully chosen to maximize performance on the drag strip. The 427 cubic inch V8 engine was paired with a specially tuned intake manifold and high-performance carburetors, delivering immense power with precise control. To reduce weight, Ford replaced standard steel components with aluminum and fiberglass wherever possible, including doors, hood, and even certain body panels. Lexan windows further trimmed pounds without sacrificing strength. But here is a question to consider: how did such factory modifications make the Thunderbolt so dominant over even heavily modified competitor cars? Could a standard production chassis truly handle that much power at speeds exceeding 124 miles per hour? Engineers also paid attention to suspension tuning, wheel alignment, and weight distribution, ensuring that the car could launch flawlessly every time. This combination of raw horsepower and intelligent design made the Thunderbolt nearly untouchable on the strip. Imagine the driver's astonishment as this car shot down the quarter mile, effortlessly leaving rivals behind. Could a single engineering decision, like the use of aluminum doors or fiberglass hood, really change the outcome of every race it entered? The Thunderbolt proved that attention to detail and clever engineering could turn a production car into an unstoppable racing legend, a car so advanced that the National Hot Rod Association had to rethink the rules to keep the competition fair. Limited production and rarity. Did you know that only a handful of these legendary cars were ever made? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was produced in extremely limited numbers, making it one of the rarest factory-built drag racing machines of its era. Ford needed only a small batch to meet NHRA superstock eligibility requirements, and as a result, fewer than 100 Thunderbolts rolled off the production line. Each car was meticulously assembled, with careful attention to engine tuning, weight reduction, and aerodynamics, ensuring that no two Thunderbolts were exactly alike. But here is a question for you. How does such scarcity affect a car's legacy? Why did this tiny production run make the Thunderbolt not only competitive, but also legendary in the eyes of collectors and enthusiasts alike? The limited numbers meant that each Thunderbolt became a prized possession, with some surviving today, fetching extraordinary sums at auctions. Imagine being one of the lucky few who got behind the wheel of this incredible machine. You would experience firsthand the thrill and dominance that made the NHRA take notice. Its rarity also contributed to the mystique surrounding the car, turning it into a symbol of innovation, power, and exclusivity. Could a car with such a small production run truly influence an entire racing organization's rules? The Thunderbolt story proves that even a handful of vehicles can leave a lasting impact, becoming legends in both racing history and automotive culture. Iconic races and rivalries. Which competitors dared to challenge a car no one could catch? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt did more than dominate the strip. It created unforgettable rivalries and legendary moments in drag racing history. Every time it lined up against other superstock cars, spectators knew they were witnessing a battle against a machine designed to win. The Thunderbolt's 427 cubic inch V8 engine, combined with its lightweight construction, allowed it to leave competitors in the dust, often before they even had a chance to react. But here is a question: which rival cars came closest to challenging the Thunderbolt, and did any succeed? The Thunderbolt faced fierce competition from other factory-built superstock cars, yet its superior engineering, balanced weight distribution, and raw power made it almost untouchable. Imagine the adrenaline and tension at each race, drivers pushing their cars to the limit, while fans held their breath, knowing they might witness a historic quarter-mile run. These iconic races cemented the Thunderbolt's reputation not just as a fast car, but as a symbol of factory racing excellence. Can you picture the shock on rival drivers' faces as the Thunderbolt crossed the finish line, seemingly effortlessly, rewriting what they thought was possible for a production car? These battles left a lasting mark on drag racing culture and elevated the Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt to a legendary status that still inspires enthusiasts today. The NHRA rule changes. How can a single car force an entire organization to rewrite its rules? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was so dominant that the National Hot Rod Association had to rethink its regulations for the superstock class. With only a handful of cars built, each featuring a 427 cubic inch V8 engine and lightweight construction, the Thunderbolt outperformed almost every competitor. Its quarter-mile times of 11.6 seconds at over 124 miles per hour made clear that the existing rules could no longer ensure fair competition. But here is a question: what specific rules did the NHRA change, and why were they necessary? Officials raised minimum production numbers and enforced stricter eligibility requirements to limit the advantage that the Thunderbolt had over standard production cars. Imagine being a racer at the time, suddenly facing a car so advanced that it forced governing bodies to adapt. It must have felt impossible to win against such engineering perfection. This rule change solidified the Thunderbolt's legendary status, as it was not banned for being illegal, but effectively blacklisted for being too dominant. Can you imagine the debates in NHRA offices with engineers and officials discussing how to contain a car that was simply ahead of its time? The Thunderbolt's dominance serves as a historical example of how innovation can challenge rules and reshape an entire sport, leaving a legacy that still fascinates car enthusiasts and historians alike. Why does the Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt still inspire awe decades after it first raced? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was more than just a car. It was a revolution on four wheels that left a lasting mark on the world of drag racing. With its 427 cubic inch V8 engine, lightweight aluminum doors, fiberglass hood, and Lexan windows, it could run the quarter mile in 11.6 seconds at over 124 miles per hour, outmatching nearly every competitor in its class. But its influence went far beyond speed and performance. How did a single production car change the way racing organizations thought about rules and fairness? How did it inspire engineers, drivers, and enthusiasts to push the boundaries of what was possible with factory-built vehicles? By forcing the National Hot Rod Association to raise minimum production numbers and enforce stricter eligibility rules, the Thunderbolt demonstrated that true innovation could not be ignored. Its engineering brilliance, combined with its rarity and dominance, set new standards for what a production superstock car could achieve. Imagine standing at a drag strip in the 1960s, watching the Thunderbolt launch with such precision and speed that it seemed untouchable, a car that challenged every assumption about factory-built vehicles. Its legacy is felt not only in racing history, but also in the world of classic car collecting, where surviving Thunderbolts are celebrated as symbols of ingenuity, power, and audacity. Can you believe that fewer than 100 of these legendary cars were built? yet they still influence modern drag racing engineering and car design? Even decades later, the Thunderbolt's story continues to captivate enthusiasts, reminding everyone that innovation, courage, and a relentless pursuit of excellence can leave an indelible mark on any sport. What makes a car built in 1964 still one of the most sought-after classics today? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt is not only remembered for its groundbreaking performance, but also for its extreme rarity and desirability among collectors. With fewer than 100 units ever built, each Thunderbolt is considered a priceless piece of automotive history. Its 427 cubic inch V8 engine, combined with lightweight aluminum doors, fiberglass hood, and Lexan windows, made it a dominant force on the drag strip. But today, these features make it a legendary collector's item. But here is a question. How does a car that once challenged the National Hot Rod Association's rules maintain its value and mystique decades later? Many surviving Thunderbolts are carefully restored and displayed in museums or private collections, with auction prices reaching astronomical figures. Imagine owning a car that not only represents raw speed and engineering excellence, but also a piece of racing history that literally changed the rules of the sport. Enthusiasts study every detail, from suspension tuning to engine modifications, seeking to understand what made the Thunderbolt so dominant. Can you imagine the thrill of seeing one roar down a modern drag strip, knowing it once forced officials to rewrite regulations? The Thunderbolt continues to inspire admiration and fascination, proving that a combination of innovation, rarity, and pure engineering brilliance can create a timeless legend. It is a car that captures hearts, challenges perceptions, and keeps the spirit of classic drag racing alive even decades after it first roared onto the scene. Could a single car really change the rules of an entire racing organization? The 1964 Ford Fairlane Thunderbolt was not just a car, it was a game-changer. With its 427 cubic inch V8 engine, lightweight construction, and factory-built superstock engineering, it dominated the drag strip, forced the National Hot Rod Association to rewrite rules, and earned the legendary title, NHRA Blacklisted. Its rarity, performance, and innovation have made it a timeless symbol of ingenuity and audacity in automotive history. From its historic races to its status as one of the most sought-after collector cars today, the Thunderbolt continues to inspire admiration among enthusiasts and historians alike. Can you imagine witnessing its raw power on the strip for the very first time? This car proves that bold engineering and determination can leave an indelible mark on the world. If you enjoyed discovering the story behind the Thunderbolt, make sure to like this video, subscribe for more legendary car histories, and share your thoughts in the comments. Which banned or unstoppable car would you have loved to drive? Remember, legends like the Thunderbolt are not just about speed, they are about rewriting history and leaving a legacy that lasts forever.